Things got a little heavy and current eventsy here, right? So maybe it's time to dig into something a little more silly again. Let's look in that file marked
TV is weird.
Hey, here's something that used to be bizarrely commonplace that doesn't seem to exist anymore. The celebrity-endorsed cartoon. I don't mean famous people just doing animated shows, that happens all the time. I mean shows where an actual famous person licensed their name, likeness, and sometimes their own voice to a series where that presence would be the primary selling point. The original heyday for this bizarre phenomenon was the late 1960s to the 1970s, when multimedia branding for individual persons was first becoming acceptable as a practice for a widespread number of celebrities. The Beatles pioneered it by lending their identities to a low-budget animated series, which they reportedly hated, and the Jackson 5 and the Osmonds followed suit a few years later. They even did their own voices. The Gary Coleman Show, despite being the title, was actually a cartoon spin-off of a TV movie called The Kid with the Broken Halo, with Coleman as a young angel in training as opposed to playing himself. The Harlem Globetrotters became superheroes in their show. Hell, even Muhammad Ali got in on the action.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Watch the adventures of Muhammad Ali.
This sort of thing took something of a break in the 80s when it became legal to produce 20-minute commercials as kids' entertainment again, and action figures nudged the pop stars and B-list celebrities out of the spotlight. Sure, Chuck Norris and Mr. T had cartoons, but those were promoting their own broader multimedia brands, or in Chuck's case, a forgettable line of toys. The argument could be made that Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling fit the bill, but that was more of a promo for the WWF as a franchise rather than just Hogan himself.
I never knew you could handle horses, Hulk.
Well, you just have to know how to talk to them.
But the cult of personality re-exploded onto the scene in the 90s, fueled in large part by jointly occurring phenomena like the emergence of frontman-driven genres like pop, boy band R&B, and hip-hop as top of the popular music culture, and the phenomena of adult comedy stars of the 70s and 80s becoming kiddie celebrities in the 90s. On the music side, Kid and Play got a cartoon, and so did the New Kids on the Block. And MC Hammer more or less signaled his own downfall as a meaningful force in hip-hop with Hammerman. What was weirdly interesting about Hammerman was that it actually tried to be more than superficially about the rap genre and its own inner-city setting. Starting with the title character being a legacy hero. The backstory begins in the 60s and 70s, where a James Brown-esque musician uses a pair of magical dance shoes to fight crime as Soul Man. But
Gramps was getting old, and he couldn't keep up the fight. Right. So Gramps and his granddaughter, they went out on the road to find a man they knew could jam, who was worthy of the load. They met a guy named Stanley, who was dancing every night. He helped the kids play every day. His heart was out of sight. So Gramps opened up the bag and took out the magical shoes. He set them on the ground and they soon began to groove. The shoes knew at once they had finally found their man. They hopped right on his feet and he became Hammerman, Hammerman, Hammer, Hammerman, Hammer, Hammerman.
the show still wasn't very good, but the parallels being drawn between the revolutionary spirit of soul music and then modern hip-hop, which was still not getting proper respect from music critics, was noteworthy, even if MC Hammer probably wasn't the ideal figurehead at that point. Meanwhile, John Candy protected a children's summer camp and its surrounding wilderness from the machinations of perfectly named evil industrialist Rex DeForest III in Camp Candy. Rick Moranis, yes, there was a minute there when Rick Moranis was a name above the title actor popular enough for his own cartoon, was the lone human teacher at a high school for monsters, no, a different one, in Gravedale High. Howie Mandel was the patriarch of a suburban family on Bobby's World. Louis Anderson had Life with Louie. There was also Wish Kid with Macaulay Culkin, but, you know, life did enough to that guy, I'm not gonna pile on at this point. But the zenith of this nonsense might have been Pro Stars, which featured a superhero team comprised of Michael Jordan, Bo Jackson, and Wayne Gretzky. What I like is that Bo seems to be here exclusively because they could cover football and baseball with one guy.
Jordan jams in your face. I'm gonna put them in their place. Pro Stars! Pro Stars! Pro Stars! Blue light, crunch time. We will score just in time. Pro Stars! All Stars! Showstopper! Big swing, Bo's the man. Gonna hit a grand slam.
Pro Stars. It's all about helping kids.
In conclusion, Yeah, I'll be honest, guys, I have no bigger point this time. I just wanted to show you some silly cartoons, and these all kind of fit the same historical context. Interestingly, what seems to have killed this genre off, apart from self-parodies like Robert Evans' Kid Notorious, is, of all things, reality TV, which is where fading and wannabe celebrities of today go for their cheap self-promotion. I'm not sure if that's any better, honestly. I'm Bob, and that's the big picture.